Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm still enjoying the benefits of that exercise we just did. I'm feeling like when I breathe, I'm breathing deeper and just very naturally, and I feel like my heart is more open. So it's a perfect state for what we're gonna do next, which is we're gonna start the Dao De Jing together. Hi, Richard. Welcome back. So, um, let's. So I hope. Hi, Richard. I hope you made some tea. So, first, before we start, let's toast to everybody for your health and happiness. Uh, let's. If you don't mind, I might digress a little bit. So tea, I mean, these days tea is drunk worldwide. People growing tea from almost all parts of the world, from Asia to Africa and America. However, when in the ancient times and old times, tea before even in China, tea became a common drink for everyone. It was started to first enjoyed by like traditional Chinese medicine doctors and Buddhists and Taoism monks actually. So when they receive guests, when they have guests, and when they sit down and talk about Buddhism, Taoism, philosophy, they always like to accompany by a cup of tea. So so tea is a good match for what we're gonna talk about today. So I'm very excited that to study and learn Dao De Jing with you together. So I want to say that first that I certainly am far from an expert on Dao De Jing, and Dao De Jing has so much and such deep wisdom that I feel like a person could study it for their lifetime, and there's still more for them to learn. So isn't that great to have a book like that you can just deep in deeper and deeper. The more you do, the more you read. So let's first, before we start, I think a lot of people probably already know about Dao De Jing and at least heard about Dao De Jing. It's now, I think, the most published book worldwide. It has translated into many different languages. And Dao De Jing, that's the probably people used to hear that way. For Mandarin, it's Dao De Jing, and Dao it's translated as DAO or TAO. It's just pronunciation differences, the same thing. And De can be DE or TE. And Jing is the word Jing is means a classic. So in Chinese, for classics are called 经典. So the books that has the word 经 in it or the word 典 in it, you know that it's a classic. It's not any book. There are a lot of books that got passed down that are famous. However, for a book to be able to be called as Jing, it let's say it has to be the classic of the classics. It's like the most important of all the important books. For example, like the Bible. The Bible in Chinese is called 圣经, so it has the 经. 圣 means the sacred, the saint. And a lot of the Buddhism sutra, so there's like Heart Sutra, Diamond Sutra, those when are translated into Chinese, like the Heart Sutra is Xin Jing. Heart is Xin. Jing is means a classic. So Heart Sutra. And the Diamond Sutra is called Jing Gang Jing. Jing Gang is diamond. So when you see a book that's a Jing, then you know that it's definitely a highly regarded book. And Dao De Jing, so it's the name is clear. So it's talk about Dao. It's talk about De. So and Dao. Let's say what is Dao. So we're actually going to talk about. Lao Tzu has talked about in the first chapter, and then all the chapter, there are 81 chapters in Dao De Jing, and it's all focused on Dao and De. And so hopefully as we're reading the Dao De Jing together, we get at least a glimpse of what Dao is, or have our own interpretation or a deeper understanding of what is Dao. And also De. De is De can be said as like the use of Dao, like the manifestation of Dao. So okay, so next one, let's talk about, I think a lot of people probably have heard about Lao Tzu. Some translation says Lao Tzu. So Lao Tzu is the author of Dao De Jing. However, he didn't actually write it himself. So we'll talk about it later as we go into explaining a little more about the background of this book. And Lao Tzu, so there are two characters in Lao Tzu, this name. First one is Lao. Second one, Lao means like old, respected. And I think in ancient China, these days it's an uncommon last name. And Zi in those times, in Lao Tzu's time, in Confucius' time in China, it's when you put a Zi under somebody's family name, it's a respected way to call someone. So Lao Tzu, he's one thing believes that his name is actually Li Er. So his family name is Li, like my family name Li, and his given name is Er. And as to, you would think then, right? If it's like he should be, his family name is Li, so he probably should be called Li Zi. Like Confucius in Chinese is called Kong Zi, because Confucius's family name is Kong, so people respectfully call him Kong Zi. So as for why Lao Tzu is not Li Zi, I don't think people know about it. So Lao Tzu, in a way, literally translated into like an old gentleman, Lao Tzu. So because Lao Tzu was born at in 571 BC, so that's exactly 2,590 years ago. So there isn't a lot of record passed down about him. There are the record we know. So one legend has, or maybe it's true that his mother was 88 years old when he was born, and his father at that time was 260 years old. So, maybe those times and people do live that long. That's certainly it's very good. I wouldn't mind to live to 260 years old. And he became later, he became the librarian actually for in those times for the National Library. So you could tell he's a very well educated person, because in those times, in 2,500 years ago, book is actually something that's rare to come by. So a lot of people don't read, can't write. So not only to be able to read, and you imagine he's got the whole National Library that he can just go and learn. And I think it's a like the for me, I felt like that's the best job at that time. You just go in and just all the book are there for you to just enjoy and learn from. So so that's a little bit of a introduction about the author Lao Tzu. And Lao Tzu was believed to have lived. There are at least one story said he lived up to about 160 years old. But another story says that now we're going to go into how, when this book was written, that it was saying that Lao Tzu decided to basically retreat to Guanwai, means to the remote area, to maybe go into the mountains and to become a hermit. So as he was leaving the country, he got to the last gate. So once he passed that gate, nobody would know where he went or where to find him. And apparently a story has that's after he passed that gate, nobody actually knows. So that's that was the end of what people know about Lao Tzu. So when he get to that gate, and the head guard of the gate recognized him and knows where, probably asked him, and Lao Tzu told him that, I'm just gonna be hermit and goodbye. And so the guard, whose name is Yin Xi, so he's saying, no, you can't just leave yet. You have to at least leave us with something. So he actually asked Lao Tzu, or asked questions, and Lao Tzu answered. And so based on Lao Tzu's answer, that's how the story has. That's how the Dao De Jing was written down, was created. Making me think about the interesting part about this is a lot of the Buddhism sutra, I don't think any of them was actually written down by the Buddha. I think it's often, usually if you have read Buddhist sutra, usually the first chapter talk about which one of his students have heard it, and where and when, with whom, and who is actually the person that wrote it down. So it's very interesting at those times that these what you call them, saints, or people who are with deep wisdom. This seems to be passing down their knowledge that way. So that's a story about how. So I think we probably all have Yin Xi to thank, because otherwise we would not have this book Dao De Jing that we can enjoy or kill our brain cells with. Okay, so I think that's a little bit of a kind of a fun introduction about Dao De Jing. Oh, another thing I want to say that even though Taoism, the Tao is the same Dao De Jing, the same Dao in Dao De Jing, and Taoism as a religion also think Dao De Jing as one of their philosophical basis. however, the Taoism as a religion, it wasn't founded by Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu, this book was not, that's why I think it's so popular, because people all over the world could enjoy it, or could learn from it, could getting wisdom, and could resonate with everyone. And it's talking about, it's like universal truth in a way that it's not limited to just Taoist. Okay, so let's go right into our first chapter, and we're gonna start it. Not sure we'll be able to finish the whole chapter, but we can rush anything that's good as Dao De Jing. So we'll take our time. We'll enjoy the book. It deserves to be read and enjoyed and contemplated slowly and often. So I did post both the Chinese and the English translation, one version. There are many versions of English translation of Dao De Jing in an earlier post, but I'm going to read it here. So, Dao De Jing, Chapter 1, 第一章, in Chinese. 道可道，非常道；名可名，非常名。无名，天地之始；有名，万物之母。故常无，欲以观其妙；常有，欲以观其教。此两者，同出而异名，同谓之玄。玄之又玄，众妙之门。So this translation that I was using came from the book by Jia Fufeng and Jane English. So the translation goes as this. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of 10,000 things. Ever desireless, one can see the mystery. Ever desiring, one can see the manifestations. These two spring from the same source, but differ in name. This appears as darkness. Darkness within darkness, the gate to all mystery. It's beautiful, isn't it? So let's dig right in. So the first, you have to say the first chapter is probably the most famous chapter in Dao De Jing. And it's the, how can you say, it's the core, it's the essence of Dao De Jing. And some believe that the chapter 1 basically is all. It's all talking about all that needs to be said. And the later 80 chapter was mostly used to explaining what chapter 1 is about. So, and yeah, chapter 1, like 道可道，非常道；名可名，非常名。So that's the first two, let's say, first two lines. Probably, like say, everybody in China if like you're school age and above, and that you say it and they've heard of it, and say, okay, Dao. So the first line is Dao, 可道, 非常道. So Dao, that means like the Dao that we can talk about it, we can define it, we can explaining it. It's not 常道 is here the book, I think it was very good translation, is the constant Dao. So the word Dao is translated as using its sound because it's Dao or Tao. And the word Chinese, in Chinese, it's can be translated as the way. So I think that's also a very good translation. So Dao is the way. And it's the way of what? So it's the way to where, right? Those are the questions that we're asking, and we're trying to find answers. However, so that's the interesting, I think that's what fascinating people about Dao De Jing. We're talking, this book is about Dao and De. However, Lao Tzu also says the Dao, if you can explaining it with words, that's not the constant Dao. So yeah, what does that mean? So the Dao, so the eternal Dao, that's something that, let's say, what are the things that we can explain, we can talk about? Is it something that's our mind can grab, or something that we can see, we at least either we have image or we hear about it. It's something that has something. It's a thing, right? It's what we can talk about are things, whether it's physical things or abstract things. So this Tao, apparently it's not any of the things, and it's anything that maybe you can explain something that's close to it, but once you said it, you limited it, and the Tao is not something that our words can limit. And the second line, 名可名非常名. So it's just like we said, anything that you can name it. It's not the constant name. So here it already introduced us with two. That's one is things with that's thing-ness, that has thing-ness that we can talk about, and there's another that's constant, that's never changing, right? Can we think about any that thing that exists that would be constant, would never ever change? Anything that has its natural tendency of, it was created, it was born, and it'll grow, and then it slowly goes down, and then it disappears. So nothing of that would be that. So what is with us that's constant, that's a never changing? So the next line, it says 无名天地之始. It means that the thing, the constant, not the thing, our words are so limited. We want to always point to something concrete, but is that cannot be named. We cannot put an accurate name on it. 知识天地. The book translates as heaven and earth. It can be heaven and earth. 天 in Chinese also means the sky, certainly heaven, and 地 is the earth, the ground. However, when Chinese people talk about 天地, they often means it's basically the earth, the earth, the sky, the heaven, and everything in between. It's like in English, people say alpha to omega. So from the top to the bottom. So 天地 also just means everything that's existing, right? I mean, everything existing. I mean, these days we know there's outer space, but in those times, people thinking everything is, the heaven, the earth, and everything in between. Basically, this sentence means, oh, thank you, Angela. So this sentence means that I think in Western spiritual community, people trying to use words to describe the Dao. There are words including emptiness, the nothingness, the nameless. So it was just where all the fingers were pointing to the moon. That's a Buddhism saying. It means that whatever words we use, we're actually only served as a finger that pointing to the moon. Is then if you follow the finger, you can see the moon, but the finger is not the moon. So let's say the nameless, the nothingness, it says it's the beginning, it's the origin of heaven and earth, which also includes basically everything. So everything that's the beingness, the things that exist, the beingness. And 有名, the next line is 有名万物之母. So we've talked about, now we talk about 无, nothingness, emptiness. Now we also mention about 有. 有 means have something, have existence, have beingness. So have beingness, beingness is the mother of, the translation has as 10,000 things. That's a literal translation for the Chinese word 万物. 万 means 10,000. 物 means things. In China, people use like 万, these big words, sometimes are not literally as 10,000. It means like many. It just means when you have many things, it can also be, it's the same as they're trying to say as 天地. It means everything. So that means 无 is the origin of all things, and 有 is the mother of all things. The way I want to share a little bit of how I interpreted these words. For me, it's almost felt like when we talk about the abstract word 有, means thingness, beingness. I always think about, since I have a young daughter, so she used to play with Play-Doh. So let's say if you played with Play-Doh, and you can see that, when you make the Play-Doh, right, it's white. It's you can make a flour with flour, add some water, make the dough, and then that's the beginning of everything that you can make down the road, that can evolve, that later on becoming something. And you could decide, then you can decide to add colors to it. You can decide to make into a dog. You can decide to make into a teacup. And so even though, let's say, a dog and a teacup are two different things, but they're both made of their essence is Play-Doh. So it's that same Play-Doh that we can make all the things out of. So the word you, the existence, that's the common thing that's in everything, in all of us. There's something that's essence-wise that's the same in all things, in all beings, in all living things and non-living things. So it's the thingness, the beingness. That's my interpretation of you. And wu, like wu, what wu? That's something that's not. That's like where this you is coming from, but it's not limited. However, let's keep going down. So we'll explain it more clearly. The next line says, 故常无欲以观其妙. It means, my understanding is that when you take the perspective of emptiness, nothingness, what that it's you can perceive. Miao means the mystery. Miao you can also say miao also can means the way things are, how things work. It's all the mystery. It's all we're made of. The wonderful mystery. And next line, 常有欲以观其教. Jiao, so the last word jiao means border. So I remember when I first read it, it was like, where does this border come from? And then I realized there is a good example, at least it was very helpful for me to understand what it means here. For example, let's say if we have a blank piece of white paper, so this is, we can say as wu because it has nothing on it. We haven't done anything to it. So it's just blank, white. So let's say this is wu. So now I have a dot on the paper. I can say, oh, suddenly something happened. Something showed up. Something becoming from non-existence now exist. Yay, great, exist. Right? Think about, before you have this, was there any border? If anything, you can put a dot, or if you want to put a square to make it something that existing, right? What it happens, everything that exists, you could see. I mean, the universe is vast, but even if you stop at a moment, I mean, I know that the theory that it's constantly expanding, but it says a moment in time, as long as it exists, it's a something, it's got a limit, right? What's a border? Border is something that defines this thing, but also everything's got its merits and drawback. So, we might feel comfortable with border. Let's say I see myself as this. This is me. So I have a very clear border. This is me. And the good thing is it makes me feel like, okay, I have something I can grasp to, right? This is me. It's clear. Something that my mind can understand. However, at the same time, when you do any limit, the downside is then you limit who you are as this. When like maybe it's not your maybe you don't see yourself as just the body, right? It's the body, it's the mind, it's the spirit. Whatever you define, it's a limit. So the down, yeah, like I said, the downside of it, certainly it's that we're not as vast expanding, as feeling as big, as light, as vast. The more we limit it, the more feel like we're more concrete. So the next line says, 此两者同出而异名, which means, that's very interesting. When I put the, I don't know if you guys can see it, when I put the paper up, white paper up, suddenly everything gets, like my face gets very dark. I guess the phone is now focusing on the bright white paper. So I'm going to put it down for now. So 此两者同出而异名, we can interpret this as the wu, the nothingness, and the thingness are, so the two, in a way, the yin and the yang, they have, the two of them are the same origin. They just have a different name. For example, this is also a good example, right? So can you just get this dot without the paper in the back, right? You can say the yu and the wu, it's together. You can't describe it in like the way of you say it as a two different thing. It's on a level that's true. They are two, but another level, can you get this dot separate from the paper behind, right? So they are just from different aspect, from different angle, we're calling it, but they are actually from the same. They have the same either origin or their essence is the same. So the last one says 同谓之玄，玄之又玄，众妙之门. Some translation translate the word 玄 as darkness, and some translation as translate thinking this is mystery. And the word 玄 has both meanings. In a way, they're not that different from each other. You think about, like, things are in the dark. Things are dark tend to be mystery, right? Things are in the light, we can see. We have, curtain behind me. You can see me, and then I'm no mystery. Things in the dark are things we sometimes we don't see. That's deeper, and so it's also explained as a mystery. That also makes sense. However, this is telling us that things that's actually deeper, and also think about wu, the nothingness. Nothing. There's no light, right? Is that can you say that in a way? It's kind of a darkness. So that is the mystery of the mystery. You can say also as the gate to all the mysteries. What I like, my personal I remember is that when I still remember the moment when I realized that I am my body, but I'm not only my body. That I am the consciousness. So it's like everything that's existing in my consciousness is also part of the consciousness. So when you feel like when you don't, I say, expand over above the border of this body, and then you get to it's not a higher level, it's just a lighter level of you. So you feel like everything instead of having this heaviness, I'm weighing this number of pounds and this and that, it suddenly become so much lighter. It's like everything is within the light, within the consciousness, and consciousness has no weight. What I remember when I realized that, I just felt like this weight that has been on my shoulder that I'm used to, I haven't noticed. It just suddenly it just feel like it's gone. It's just much more expanded. And in a way, I feel like if we could be more open, more expanding, this way we're not limiting anything, that we also allows things to come and go. Maybe that's how disease are. There's traditional Chinese medicine belief that the disease doesn't want to stay in our body as much as like we want it to be in our body. So if we that's why the Chinese traditional medicine philosophy for treating disease is like Ming sometimes says, you open the doors, you open up the windows, you gave the ways for the disease to give them a way to come out, and they go where they're happy, and you're rid of the disease, you're happy. So to do that, I say we have certainly herbs can help us do that. But I think if we are mentally, we can be more open. So we are more opening up, not really kind of a tighten up, building this big border. Maybe that our disease will come and go more easily and doesn't bother us as much. Oh, sorry everyone, I'm way past time. So thank you for watching and thank you for watching, and I appreciate you learning Dao De Jing with me together. And next week, I think we'll go on to chapter 2. Thank you very much. Have a great day.